Happy New Year, courtesy of Cars the Big Boy Trev. My name is Big Boy Trev.
My name is Birigi.
And we have an amazing show including something from Mitsubishi and Nissan, a sort of marriage. But first things first,
let's check out the news.
On to our first news item. Now we've just learned that Mitsubishi will use the Nissan Patrol's chassis on its next generation of the Pajero. We know that Mitsubishi Pajero has a lot of heritage, Paris-Dakar, super select four-wheel drive. It's a car that we've seen on our roads. But Mr. Mirigi, what do you think the partnership between Nissan and Mitsubishi will offer the new Pajero?
Well, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of this now, platform engineering that's happening across the board. The number one companies of this, of course, are now Volkswagen Group, yes. Where a Cayenne is a Touareg,
yes.
Is also now, I think, an Audi Q7.
It's a Bentayga.
It's a Bentayga, it's
yes.
Very many things. We're also seeing this happening on the other side with Volkswagen and Ford with the Ranger.
Yes.
So it can only mean good things for the customer because the Patrol is a tried and tested platform, and the Pajero is getting a little old, to be very honest.
Absolutely, and you know we love the 5.6 V8. Please do not change.
No, give us a diesel, give us a diesel, we want a diesel, yes.
Or electric for that matter, because you're now
Yeah.
moving into that electric field. So keep it Cars Big Boy Trevor, and we're going to give you the news of the latest Mitsubishi Pajero Patrol. So guys, on to our second news item, the Defender. Mr. Mirigi, we saw it live fast than anybody else.
Yeah.
We now know that it's coming to Kenya this quarter. What do we expect from Land Rover with the new Defender?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting vehicle. There are 6 different variants,
yes.
But I think what is going to come to Kenya first will be the 110, the first edition, obviously, yes. Now for the more discerning customer, and then now the rest are going to come a little later.
Now you expect the introduction of Ingenium engines, a 2-liter turbo diesel. Of course, you do have about close to 130 kilowatts in actually different states of tune.
Yeah.
You can have the high power 240 horsepower or 177 kilowatts and 340 in terms of torque, paired to a 9-speed automatic or a manual 6-speed. It depends on the market variation. Again, Defender are actually trying to make sure that this car fills the shoes of the previous Defender. How rugged will it be? When you have a Wilkins Special, the one that we saw with the white rims, the old school design, so we're going to have that, and it's actually a 3-seat in front and actually rear seats as well. Added safety features, you have ABS, anti-lock braking system, you have ESP, you have hill descent control, and of course the introduction of terrain management 2, which actually has stereoscopic cameras that actually scan the road ahead and adjust the suspension accordingly. But that you find in the base model. Base model has steel wheels. Now, who are the key rivals of the Defender right now? Is it this particular car?
This is a rival for anybody who's doing off-road right now, by the way. I'm very surprised. This is a rival even for the Mercedes AMG G63. So this, I mean, the Suzuki Jimny, in case you're wondering, is a very nice car, by the way. Incredibly capable off-road, fun to drive, and it looks really nice.
So we're gonna give you a review of the Jimny coming soon. And remember, this particular car actually comes on offer. So I think the offer is still on because they say, well, stocks last, 100,000 off. If you visit Toyota Kenya, you just tell them CBBT, Mirigi and I gave an offer, and you'll see if you can get yourself a brand new Suzuki Jimny, courtesy of Suzuki Kenya. On to our last news item. Now, Ford have just updated the Everest for 2020 with the introduction of the 2-liter bi-turbo engine. Gosh, that engine has a lot of power. 500 Newton meters of torque, 157 kilowatts of power, 10-speed automatic, terrain management system. You guy, my guy, what do you think about this new update?
Well, it's going to be really dope because now we're talking about a 10-speed transmission.
Yes.
It's the same 2-liter that's been in the Ranger and now that's coming to the Everest. Everest itself is a very fantastic platform. Park Pilot, it can even park itself, by the way. It's not something you're expecting at a car that size or that price point.
Now you can imagine CMC will bring this car by end of Q1 this year, so make sure you get your orders in, check out the Everest. And who are the key rivals of the Everest?
Well, obviously now we are talking about SUVs that are based on a pickup. So you're talking the Pajero Sport and the Nissan,
Fortuner.
the Fortuner as well, actually.
Yes.
Fortuner is also in that mix. And I think the Nissan Pathfinder, which is coming to our market very time soon.
So stay tuned on Cars Big, but Trevor will give all the details in relation to this brand new Everest pickup coming soon. Step right in the cabin of the Suzuki Swift And I can tell you for a fact that Suzuki have made this car very spacious. It's a small car, but inside the dimensions, it looks actually taller and wider. Even big boy Trev can fit. So where do we start? Let's start with the dashboard. The forward-facing dashboard allows you to have an impression of space, of room, you know, because when you're driving a mini car like this, you need space. And the kind of impression that Suzuki have tried to do is to ensure that the dashboard is placed strategically forward so that you have enough room for headroom and legroom as well, and also at the back. Now, speaking of the dashboard, it's been well designed, well laid off, as you can see here. You can see touches of a bit of trim. This is plastic trim, but it looks like stainless steel. And of course, the modern design of the cabin. Remember, Suzuki is targeting the younger generation with the Swift. On the center console, you do have a radio system that houses an MP3 and of course has USB and Bluetooth functionality. You can actually connect your phone using this particular car, so that you always on your steering wheel, you don't need to take your hands off the steering wheel, and you can answer and cut calls using the satellite buttons that are placed strategically on the steering wheel. Of course, the sound system is not too bad. Zoom, zoom! Who's got keys to my Suzuki? That's the kind of sound. It's a 4-speaker audio system. It's not too shabby. It's actually very good for long distances, and you can enjoy this particular car. Right below it as well, you do have the climate control system. Now this allows you to regulate cabin temperature and climate with ease. And of course, it's not dual zone, but it works. It has AC, which is very important in this hot December come January weather. You can imagine driving this car down to Mombasa. Feels comfortable, it feels very quiet, and of course feels very luxurious. The seats are very supportive, as you can see here. Big boy is quite comfortable, as you can see. It has on the driver's side, it has actually height adjustment so that you're able to adjust based on your preference. And of course on the steering wheel as well, you do have tilt but not telescopic functionality on the steering wheel. So if you're a shorter person, you put it down. If you're tall, up, so that you have enough legroom, as you can see. On the gearbox console, you have an interesting setup. This is a gated shift, so you control the vehicle using a gated shift. So it's reverse, neutral, manual and drive, and then you have sports option if you need. This car is a super mini, so practicality is the name of the game. So plenty of cubby holes and spaces. You can fit here 2 cups or 2 bottles of soda or juice or water. And of course, you do have a place where you can actually put your mobile phone over here. You do have also an auxiliary port, which is also supplemented by an auxiliary port. And of course, a 12 volt 20 watt charger. You can actually use your iPad, or you can use any other item that needs powering on this particular car. Now, speaking of the instrument miracle, clear, precise, as you can see here. On the left you have the tachometer, and on the right you have the speedometer, which are all in grey and black, so it gives that visible look when you're driving. The critical information is given to you at any given time, and in the middle of these 2 dials actually do have a screen where it gives you the critical elements. So distance covered, you have the drive mode, which is on neutral or park or drive, and of course you have the fuel capacity, temperature outside, and of course the timing as you drive this particular Suzuki. Now we need to find out if this car is comfortable, and Mr. Mirigi is going to tell us much more on the back and tell us if this particular Suzuki Swift is as comfortable to drive, if it's a car that you want to do shopping with, or it's a car that you're going to live with it every day. Stay tuned.
So right here in the back of the Suzuki Swift, there's not too much space. Like Trevor said, this is a super mini. Trevor is 6'1". The seat is set for his position, and he's a big boy, and you know that. And I still have some space. It's not too much, but I'm not digging too much into this. And Trevor wasn't actually feeling my knees in the back of his back over there. Now, we don't have an armrest at the back here, so there's space enough for 3 people. There are 3 cup holders, 1 in the middle here, 1 in each of the doors, making 2. And the Suzuki Swift actually has anchor points for ISOFIX for a child seat. Let's check out the back to see how much it has to offer in terms of practicality. So let's check out the back. Loads of space inside this boot. I'm actually genuinely very surprised at how much space there is inside here. We have tie down hooks, and of course now a small donut spare tire, but there is actually quite a lot of space inside here. You can put very many stuff, very many suitcases can fit inside here. Lots of space, and it's covered so the public won't be able to see what's inside here. This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we discuss the importance of a safari check. The festive season is here and many families are planning long-distance trips to visit friends and relatives in all corners of the country. This season, heavy rains have pounded the country and road conditions have deteriorated, leaving behind potholes, loose and wet surfaces. Before you embark on a long journey, you must make sure that the vehicle you use is in roadworthy condition. Your mechanic will perform service before executing something called the safari check to ensure that your vehicle is ready for your journey. A safari check involves scheduled service, a suspension check, wheel balancing, wheel rotation and alignment, a heating and ventilation check, and a check of your electrical systems. Before a safari check, your car should undergo major service, which involves the replacement of service parts such as air, oil and fuel filters, spark plugs, brake pads and fluids to ensure that the engine and drivetrain are ready to take on the journey ahead. Your mechanic should check for the wear and tear in your suspension system. If the links, shocks and bushes are worn, they should recommend replacement, as well as tighten all the bolts and nuts within the suspension setup. Due to excess wear and tear, the wheel alignment settings will change over time. This change can also happen when suspension parts have been replaced. You should visit a reputable tire alignment center to return the settings to default. Wheel rotation will also be done to ensure that tires wear out evenly and you can get more life out of your tires. The mechanic will ensure all the wheel bolts are secure for the commencement of your journey. With regard to heating and ventilation, your mechanic will conduct a pressure test to ensure that the air conditioning unit is working properly. If there is need to top up the air conditioning refrigerant, it will be done, so that if one needs to cool or heat the cabin, it works as designed, including clearing foggy windshields. Speaking of windshields, the mechanic will also ensure that your wiper blades are in good condition, which is very useful in this rainy season, as good wipers clear the windscreen for better visibility. If there are any bulbs that are not working, they will be replaced and the headlamps refocused to ensure better road illumination during the night. Window and door switches will be cleaned to remove moisture and your battery terminals cleaned to reduce the rust and corrosion from battery acid. The importance of having a safari check is that one gets to know the condition of their vehicle and thus allowing you to ensure that it is roadworthy at any given time. Drive safe this festive season.
Similar, it's a good idea for Jaguar Land Rover. They invite all the guests to visit this beautiful city, and it's also my first experience of racing, and I love it.
The thrill, the cars, the ambience, the environment, the feel that I want something new, and for the fun.
I'm here for the first time, so it's exciting. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. The weather is nice and cool. The cars and just the experience of getting into the cars and experiencing them, experiencing the new technology.
Well, the Samola Hill Climb's been going for about 10 years now, and Jaguar got involved in 2014. Really, racing is in our blood, and we had some very exciting products coming through at the time, and we really felt it was very important from a brand perspective to get involved with the Samola Hill Climb, which is the premium racing event in South Africa at the moment. We've got some very exciting products. Also, it allows us to expose the new I-Pace, the all-electric vehicle, which we've launched in South Africa. We also have here the first 2 F-Pace SVRs that have just been launched. Springbok Range Rover SVR, so that's also here on display. So not only does it allow the brand, and its relationship with racing, but also it's a great platform to launch new product.
Jaguar F-Pace any day. I love the R Sport especially. I have tried a feel on the Velar and the F-Pace, and I felt the F-Pace was most suitable for the kind of job that I do.
I got into the I-Pace Jaguar, the electric one, and it was the most amazing, I think, motoring experience of my life, because we went up the hill in about 50 seconds. It's a silent car, you can't hear it, but it's got so much power.
The I-Pace for me is an impressive performance. I like the sophisticated look and the fact that it's a silent but a serious speed machine.
Our biggest market for Jaguar is becoming clearly Mauritius, particularly with the introduction of the electric cars, because Mauritius is quite advanced in terms of its tax structure and what it's doing to promote the electric vehicles. And then equally on the west coast, it's primarily Ivory Coast, and clearly in Kenya, we're starting to do more and more Jaguar sales.
We are on the road now in the Suzuki Swift. This, of course, now is the 2019 edition. We've seen how practical it is inside, but now we are taking it on the road. Feel exactly what that 1.5-litre engine can do. And so far, I have to say, it is pretty good. There's not so much noise from the road that's coming in. It's holding the road pretty well, and it does accelerate very okay. It's very easy to feel that this is the platform for the Suzuki Swift Sport, which of course now is the manual with the turbo in this edition, of course. This is not that one. This is the Suzuki GL, the entry-level Suzuki. That is the cheapest one that people can buy. So on the road, the engine is peppy, really good. I really can't complain. Very, very comfortable to sit in this car. I am 5'9", Trevor is 6'1". He's been able to sit, he's okay. I've been able to sit, I'm okay. We are not taking too much space from the rear passengers. The steering is actually very nice, very nicely weighted. You would expect the steering to be light in a light car, but this still feels heavy. It feels like it has some heft, and that really helps when you're on the road and you're trying to get into and out of places. It's also actually very easy to park, which is what I found. Has a very, very tight turning circle, very easy to get into and out of tight spaces. About to overtake over here, you put your foot down and it does pick up. It's very sporty. And now just going over here, we're testing the brakes. Again, very nice pedal feel. This is a very pleasant car to drive. If I was to summarize this in one word, it would be pleasant. It's very nice, very easy to sit into, to set up your driving position. People who are shorter than me would have a very good time in this. People who are tall and as big as Trevor, again, very good time in this. Air conditioning is fantastic. The radio is fantastic. There's really nothing wrong with this car. I can't put anything off with this car. So it's been a good experience. Let's check out how it stacks up against the competition. Let's go to value for money.
So guys, you've seen Murigi driving this car, experiencing it on the road. We've taken it practically, seen the subtle features of this car. Mr. Murigi, what do you think about the Suzuki Swift as a product?
Well, I mean, it's incredibly practical. It has a lot more space than it looks like, and it's very interesting to drive.
Now, who are the key rivals of this particular car?
Well, in the Kenyan market, we're looking at the Volkswagen Polo Vivo and the Renault Kwid.
How much does it cost?
This is coming at 1.7 million shillings, but there is an offer for a limited time. You can get this with 100,000 shillings off at Suzuki by Toyota, I understand. Yes.
Now, it also comes with a 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, and you can rely on Toyota by Suzuki or Suzuki by Toyota's extensive network to give you all the best deals. If you have any questions, comments, or questions, don't hesitate to write to us. As seen on the social media handles below, we'll get back to you in the next episode. Signing off, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Murigi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Be safe.
Drive safe.